What's up, my Outlaw Shedders? My name is Sebastián, and welcome to another episode of Seba Reviews. And today I'm reviewing the first episode of the brand new series right on Disney Plus from Marvel Studios, of course, The Falcon Winter Soldier. Which, if you want to see my opinions on WandaVision, you can check my previous episodes right here on this channel. But for this show, I was gonna say, like, man, it was interesting because even before this, I was more excited for this show than WandaVision. I was like, WandaVision might be alright, but I don't think it's gonna be that good. It ended up being way better than I thought it was gonna be. So now I was like, okay, this show is, I don't think it's gonna be as good as WandaVision. And now it's flipped, so it's crazy. And I was just thinking, you know what? The show could be alright. Like, I don't think it's gonna be as nuanced as WandaVision, and not that every show or every movie going forward has to be this mind-bending thing like WandaVision. But I was just saying, like, I don't think it's gonna be as nuanced or as deep or as clever as WandaVision. I think it's gonna be a straight up action movie, or in this case a show, but nothing above that surface level. I think it's gonna be straight, which is like some action comedy, buddy cop action stuff. I don't think it's gonna be more. I thought we were gonna tackle some things here and there, but I didn't think it was gonna be that complex like maybe WandaVision. So I'm here to talk about the first episode called New World Order. I guess I'll go into spoilers and not like a full super in-depth like WandaVision, because I don't think it kind of has to. But if you've not seen the episode, go watch the episode first and then come back here to see my thoughts. But if you do not care about spoilers, then you're welcome to stay. So let's go ahead and talk about it. And the show started kind of interesting. Well, you know, it's like a black screen and you hear, I think it was just the dialogue that's straight from Endgame between Sam and Steve. I thought that was very interesting. But of course, it's setting up how Sam just doesn't feel right with having his shield. And something I was just very excited about the show, because I mean, one of the things I wanted to see about the show is a story focused on Sam, but also on Bucky. You know, it's time to flesh those characters out. They haven't been fleshed before, but you know, they've been kind of relegated to being secondary characters. You know, they have their stories and stuff, especially Sam. I mean, Bucky has a lot more stuff, but they're the secondary characters of the MCU or the Avengers movies. So I wanted a story that just focuses more on them and give them more of a story. I hope this show did that. So it was cool that already we're gonna see Sam being conflicted with his idea of being Captain America. Like, will he be the new Captain America? He's just not sure about that. And then go to this shot that I thought from the get-go it looked great. I mean, later on I'm like, okay, maybe it's not as great as I thought. But from the get-go I thought like, oh shit, this looks about like a scene that I would see from Endgame or something like that, or maybe Winter Soldier, where we see Sam just ironing his suit and trying to get ready for something. I'm like, okay, I like the tone of the show already. It's quiet, there's no bombastic music, and like, oh shit, it's just very quiet and just not a lot going on the screen. It's just seeing Sam ironing his clothes. But I think immediately after that we go see what Falcon's doing. You know, he's back in action. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't expect to see, you know, him in the suit this early on in the show. Like, holy crap. We see him on the plane talking to military. I think we find out he's working for the Air Force. Later on they explain he's been working for the Air Force for 6 months or so. So that is interesting. Is that telling me, is he not an Avenger anymore? I mean, they do mention like, oh, he's an Avenger, but I guess he's doing some stuff for the Air Force. I guess I kind of wonder, is the Avengers disbanded or what's going on? We don't fucking know, because they don't explain that stuff. They haven't explained that so far. But we know that Sam is doing his own thing, so that is cool. And already we're to the nitty gritty of just going through this espionage shit. So he has to go stop this group of terrorists called the LAF, who want to take these like some military people. I don't know. They want to take him hostage and, you know, do all that basic action movie stuff. I love the guy's like, hey, you gotta be discreet, okay? Like, don't try to call attention to yourself. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, for sure. He just hops on out, and immediately we have this pretty incredible action sequence, which I thought was great for at least television. It's not like the best action sequence I've seen, or especially for Marvel, but it is definitely something I did not expect. Because I noticed from WandaVision, they don't have like the biggest budget. They have a big budget, especially compared to like Netflix stuff or whatever, at least for the Marvel stuff in those departments, especially ABC. So yes, they have a big budget, but they don't have a huge budget like they do with the movies. So seeing this type of stuff, I thought, holy shit, looked great. And I would say that I think this is the best we've seen of Sam flying, because I've noticed that lately in some of the movies that he's showing up, they don't do that well with his visual effects. They're kind of just being lazy with it. But in here, he just looks great. I mean, the times that they focus on him and his face, he just looks good. And the cool angles, the way they focus on his head, with things behind him and his body's moving, looks awesome. And again, this whole sequence, I mean, some parts remind me like of Uncharted when the helicopter shows up. Like, oh shit! And of course, in their desert setting, it's awesome. It's cool. I thought this is very good. Well, things to note in here before the whole thing starts going awry and going crazy. We meet this character of Torres, who's the guy on the ground. He's the one who's helping him and telling him what's going on, where he has to go. It's an interesting interaction there. But yeah, it's the action sequence that makes this what it was, and it was awesome. And by the way, holy shit, we meet the leader of this group, I guess, is Batroc the Leaper. Holy shit, he's back from Winter Soldier. I didn't think we would ever see him again. I thought he was gonna be a one-off, and it's fine, but I thought he was so badass in that movie. So to bring him back, awesome. I couldn't believe he was back, and he was pretty cool. So yeah, Sam does what he has to do, boom, 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 and then after that, he saves at least one guy, and we don't. The thing is, the plane's crashing. By the way, like the pilots that were there, they're dead, and yeah, he doesn't go back to save the plane, or at least we don't see that. So is the plane just crashed and blew up? That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage to clean up. But okay. But speaking of the plane, dude, the action, like the combat in that plane looked awesome. Like, at least one of the best action stuff so far. I still think the Russos had a better handle of action in the MCU, but compared to the rest of the other stuff, like this has to be up there. Holy crap, this is really good. Because the other action's not as bad, like Ragnarok, stuff like that, but they're not hand-to-hand combat stuff. This is that shit, and it just looks incredible. And he do something like inventive stuff with using the wings and how he has to maneuver. Some things I haven't seen before, especially the Falcon, so kudos for that. And afterwards we go to I forgot where they were, but he reunites with Torres, and they're in this little town. And I guess Santa's trying to like something with wires. I don't know. Was he trying to dissect the bomb or something? I don't know. He was learning something. And so Torres shows up, and he's kind of the guy who's kind of debriefing what's been going on since the past 5 years since he was gone. Because yeah, I forgot that. Oh yeah, he did die. He's not one of the people that was there. So it's interesting to see this perspective from him. It was also Bucky, because Bucky also died. It's cool to see these people that came back. Because I forgot that even WandaVision, like Wanda died as well, but we didn't really focus on that whole blip incident. And here's like we touched on that a little bit, how the world has changed since he left. And so Torres talks about it, what's been going on and stuff like that, but he mentions this group. I forgot the name. Is it the New World Order? I forgot. But it's this group of terrorists that their whole mission is to bring the world back to how it was during the blip, because according to them, the world was way better when all those people disappeared. Which Torres says, like, no, it was not. But I would love to know, like, okay, why do they believe the world was better when people were gone? Because there were less people to work with, they have more control or power, I don't know. Of course, I'll also say right now, we don't know who leads this group. I think it has to be Baron Zemo. I think Baron Zemo will show up. Also, by the way, Batroc lived. Of course, I was like, dude, is he gonna die? Because this missile was going straight to the helicopter. He was just standing there. I'm like, oh, shit, is he gonna? There's no way they're gonna kill him. And luckily, he did not die. And I say luckily because I want to see more of this guy. Of course, I don't want it to just die here, especially in the show. No. And we don't know what the fuck happens with him. He just escapes. And we don't mention about him ever again. I'm like, okay. But yeah, Torres is talking about this group, which apparently, I don't know, he has a technology in his phone where he can see these invisible graffiti about this, like the handprint. I don't know where that came from. I don't know. Of course, we also people approaching Sam like, "Oh, you're an Avenger. Like, thank you for bringing me back." And someone's like, "Yeah, cool. That's awesome. Or whatever." He kind of living that celebrity life, but he's not like annoyed. But you can tell he just wants his little space. But he's not annoyed by it. He's kind of humble about it. But you see that Sam is kind of laid back, just chilling, just like not even worry about it that much. But he does want to make sure like they have a handle on who this group is and what they're doing, their operations, because Torres is very invested in that. But Sam's not completely missing. It's like, oh yeah, sure, we'll deal with that. But I think he's more distracted and worried about what's going to happen later on, where he has to go to Washington, D.C. I'll say right now, the transitions between, like, you know how the Russos did, like, these bold, giant letters, like, oh, we're in Cleveland, you know? They kind of want to mimic that here, but they don't do it in that way. They do it in a way that's just, like, it looks like these fonts that come from these little softwares that you edit stuff, like video. I'm like, for videos, yeah, they can do it, but for, like, films, like these big budget films, or, like, in this case, big budget shows, I don't know about that. There's also these small little fonts. Like, it just doesn't look that good. It's like, okay, it's not sleek looking, but whatever. So he goes to Washington, D.C., where he does his press conference, and holy shit, Rhodey is in there. I did not expect to see Rose in this shit. Awesome Don Cheadle. That was a great surprise. And this is where Sam announces, you know, we're talking about Captain America, his legacy, all he did. Because I guess if people believe that Captain America is dead, but I don't think he's dead. I think he's just old. He's just living his life, you know, whatever he has left, just being so peaceful and calm. But I guess they're gonna go with, like, yeah, he's dead. But Sam, instead of saying, like, you know what, I'm gonna take the mantle, he says, fuck that shit. We'll just preserve the shield. We'll preserve the honor and the memory. We'll just go with it. As you see that Rose is kind of disappointed by it, and people are like, oh, okay, all right. You see that one guy from the, I don't know, he's the head of something. He's like, oh, I think you did the right decision of giving the mantle. Like, yes, thank you. Fuck this guy. Like, of course, I'm like, oh, I don't want a black Captain America. Come on, that's what you think. And I love this scene afterwards where they go through this little like this little museum with these different plaques of information, especially stuff from the blip and even before that, which is interesting. And I love seeing this interaction, this conversation with Sam and Rose. It's awesome. Of course, we need to see a scene with Rose in there. He's not gonna just be there and not say a line. He's gotta say something. So that Rose is basically telling him, okay, why did you just give it up? Like, why are you doing this? And Sam said, like, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it belongs to me. Like, it belongs to somebody else. So he feels it. He can't be Captain America. And you can see he probably feels a little bit guilty that he's not taking it, or he feels like a little bit of remorse about it. He just is very conflicted about the idea. Then we cut to what's going on with Winter Soldier, which that scene was pretty cool. He's killing these motherfuckers, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, he's back in that OG Winter Soldier stuff from, like, the movie, and holy crap, like, he just looked badass and awesome. And I was like, but wait a minute, he's gonna kill this innocent guy? Like, what's going on? Like, wait a minute. Unless he was not innocent, but no, he ended up being an innocent guy. I'm like, wait a minute, what's he doing? And then we see this is a nightmare, it's a dream, but in reality, it's not a dream. But you see that Bucky, after what's happened, he's just haunted by these memories, and he's not healed mentally yet. He's getting there, he's in the process. And I love that after that, we see him in a therapy session. And I like that little scene because we get to know what's this process of healing, the rules, the 3-step rules they have to do. You also get to learn what he's been doing since he came back, where he's going through this list of people that I guess he either hurt in a way, and so he kind of wants to repair stuff with them, or get the people that kind of fucked him up and I guess get them arrested, because he's not killing people anymore. He's trying not to kill people, because that's the whole part of the process. I'm not gonna go kill people, because we also learned how the government gave him a pardon basically, but under some conditions where he has to show that he's actually getting better as a person. He's not gonna snap and kill people. So we learned that he get this one Hydra agent like arrested, because I think she had something to do with the whole operation that they did with him. We also see that Bucky has just not been socially interacting with anybody. He's been distant, he's been alone, and his therapist is very concerned about that. Like, come on, you gotta go out there and meet some people. You only texted me this whole week. I also love that you mentioned, like, you haven't texted Sam either. Like, Sam's been texting you this whole time and you haven't replied back, which is interesting. Like, why is Sam texting him? We don't know why. I would want to see, like, what was he trying to get him for? Maybe we'll see that later on, maybe the next episode. And also kind of enjoyed his therapist, because she was kind of a dick. We'll just say that. She's pretty much just on his ass. Like, with the tone, I'm like, yo, chill. But I kind of enjoyed her because she was really tough outside of the conventional therapist that you would see. And so that I like the little interaction. It was not the best scene I've seen, but there were some good stuff that I enjoyed from this whole sequence. We also see that Bucky's just not there. He's kind of lying about these dreams that he's been having. Like, he just doesn't want to be there, you know, but he has to. So he's annoyed, but he knows he has to be there and just do the things he has to do. And then we come back to New York City, where he's just hanging there, and apparently he's hanging out with this older man, and he's just helping him out. And I was like, okay, he's friends with this guy. What's been going on? Like, why is he living in New York? What are we doing here? And he goes with his man to a bar. I love how this man played his wingman, and he just set him up with a bartender. And I love that Buggy's like, oh, why are you doing that? Like, don't do this. And I thought it was cute. I thought this guy just helping him out. I thought it was cool. And I loved how the bartender just went for it. Like, yeah, I would love to do it. Why not? But then by the end of the scene, we see that this man sees this red mochi, and he says how it reminds him of his son who passed away, but he doesn't know what happened to him. He doesn't know why he died. That's like this whole mystery. And you see Bucky's expression, like he just feels remorse and guilt. And you're like, oh, I think I know what's going on here. And then we go to Louisiana. Like, this show's going everywhere. Like, Louisiana, New York, we're going over here, over there. Like, oh, crap. But I'm pretty sure they filmed all this in Georgia, which, yes, they say at the end of the show, yeah, we filmed this in fucking Georgia. But they're in Louisiana, and we get to meet Sam's family, which is cool. He does mention it earlier in the show, but I don't think we're actually going to see his sister show up, which is cool. And his nephews as well, so that's awesome. That's cool. We get to see this whole conflict of this boat that their parents had, and how she's gonna sell it, and he's against it because he doesn't want to let go of the memory of that legacy. He wants to keep those memories tied and not take them away. So I'm just saying the whole situation there in Louisiana is just basically that. This back and forth between him and his sister, and how they're kind of butting heads constantly about this whole thing. And she's bringing stuff to him to his attention of how he's been gone for a long time. You know, we went to, it was the Air Force, right? You know, not this, when he was back in Winter Soldier, but was he? I forgot. Air Force, I think it was. And even back, I think that's what I understood, that when he came back from the blip, he's just been staying away from Louisiana because he didn't want to look at his hometown and see what's been going on. He just wanted to stay away from that for whatever reason. So I thought those things been going on so far in Louisiana is cool. It's not like the best parts of the episode, but I did like seeing his stuff. I see him like trying to deal with his boat and not trying to sell it, and having this conflict between him and his sister. There's some pretty cool stuff in there. But then we come back to Bucky, who does go on this date, and I liked it because we've never seen Bucky in a dating scene. You know, we've seen, you know, Steve Rogers' love life, but we haven't seen Bucky just trying to have a normal life. So I love it. He mentions how he tried to do the dating app stuff, and he has freaked them out because, you know, it's weird. There's a lot of pictures he doesn't understand. Like, you're trying to see him be modern, but he's still very old-fashioned. I like, especially that one scene that he gives her these flowers. I'm like, oh, I love it. You're very old-fashioned. I'm like, yes, he is old-fashioned. So like this little scene, you know, this is kind of awkward interaction between them because he, you know, he has a lot of things that he's going through. So him just trying to open up is somewhat, or just trying to have an interaction like that is something that he hasn't done in a while. But also, if he's just tired, he's even telling her like, yeah, I'm 101 years old. What's up? And of course, he doesn't buy it. He thinks he was joking, but he's literally not hiding it. He just doesn't care. That's just gonna tell you everything. And I also love that she asks stuff about his personal life, like his parents, like his sisters. I didn't know he had sisters. So this stuff about his life that I get to know in this show that I do appreciate that they're tackling. But then she brings something up, I forgot what it was, that reminds him of the son of his friend, basically, who he murdered. Yes, we find out that he murdered this guy. And so he feels guilty, he feels sad, he just leaves the date. And of course, she's like, what the hell? So he goes back to the apartment and tries to say, I apologize to the guy, but he just can't see to do it because he feels sad, and, you know, he saw his expression. The man kind of noticed that he looked at a picture of his son, but he didn't know exactly what that meant. Bucky's just basically, I think it was, gave him money and just gone. I'm like, yeah, I closed my ties with you, I made my peace, and I'll just move on. So it's cool that he's trying to go through this whole list and trying to prepare things with these people that he hurt in a way, or I think hurt him in a way. And then we go back to Louisiana and see Sam and his sister trying to fix this whole boat situation because his sister agreed to at least give Sam a try and see if they can work things out. And so they go to the bank. They've been gone with their family for a long time, I guess. And the guy working there is kind of freaking out. Goes like, "Oh my God, you're the Falcon." At first, he didn't recognize him. Like, I kind of know who you are, but I'm not sure. And I love how Sam was trying to use his celebrity status as an advantage. You're like, "Oh yes, I'm the Falcon. What's up? I'll take a picture with you." Kind of ease things up with the guy, and kind of give him a bone. Like, all right, cool. I'll give you the money or whatever. But then later on, the dude didn't give a shit from the beginning. I think his sister implied it was like some racism involved. But you're like, hey, I'm not. Let's not go there. I'm not racist. But you can tell he's just not really giving a fuck about all this. He's carried more of the Falcon being a celebrity and, oh, can I meet the Avengers, stuff like that. I was like, dude, really? Like, I'm getting annoyed. I'm not getting what I want from this. Fuck you. Like, give me my money. But the guy's like, no, I'm sorry. Like, it's these, like, these payments you're doing, like, it's all over the place. It's something like that. Of course, Sam's like, hey, I'm sorry. I died. Like, and these past 5 years, I haven't, tried to catch up. I just came back. So the dude's like, yeah, cool, but I'm sorry. We can't give you the money. Sorry. But Sam is adamant of not giving up this boat. He's trying to big things out. I think they did this food thing, I think, just to get money or something like that. They kind of give food to people. And also, I forgot some things about happening from Torres, who is still in, forgot where they were. He's trying to investigate on this New World Order group. Like, what are they trying to do? Trying to infiltrate these people and try to stop them. Because he's really adamant about that stuff. So he somehow, I don't know how, he finds this area where these people are united to do something for this group. So he's undercover pretending to be one of these people, and you find out that, like, this guy just gives these masks to all these people. And then once they wear the masks, this dude just jumped out of the window, I guess stealing money or something. And so the whole plan, I guess, is to, like, wear these masks to kind of throw off the cops because they all have masks on. So the Torres is like a pretty normal guy. He's like, no, dude, I gotta stop this. He even says, like, dude, I don't know if this is crossing the jurisdiction law, so fuck you. I gotta stop you because you're stealing money and you're a terrorist. I gotta stop you. So apparently this dude who stole the money has superpowers because he's strong. He beats this dude's ass. I'm like, oh, fuck. But he did record the whole thing because he had his phone in his pocket and in his jacket. So he contacts Sam later on to tell what's going on, what happened. But these, they can't figure out what exactly happened. But Sam is on the case. Like, you can tell Sam's like, okay, I kind of want to know about this whole thing, but he's not completely invested in his whole operation. Say, okay, I'll do my part, but I'm too distracted by other things and thinking about other things at the same time. And then at the end of the episode, we find out that when his sister just talks to him like, hey, you guys see this on television? This is pretty big. This is crazy. And we see that this area, I forgot, where was he in the beginning of the episode? I don't know. But the place that he was in, the head of this organization, whatever, announces like, okay, so the world's fucked up since Captain America's not here. We need this symbol again. We need a person to give us our values back. We need another Captain America. So he announced like, yeah, we made a new Captain America. And you see this guy coming out, and I immediately was like, oh, dude, this is not a Captain America. He was a little bit skinnier for Captain America. He was like a discount Captain America for like birthday parties or something. But I'm like, okay, so they're not showing his face. I was wondering, like, okay, who's he gonna be? Is it gonna be Bucky? Like, is Bucky somehow, like, out of nowhere, he's gonna be Captain America? Like, did we miss some things before then? Like, after what happened in the apartment to where we are now? Or is it something that we recognize? I don't know. Because at the end, we see his face, because I was afraid they were gonna show his face. I thought we were gonna just cut the episode right there and not see his face. So thankfully they did show his face before they cut the episode, but I saw his face. It's not somebody that I at least recognized. If you recognized him from something before the movies, let me know. But he's a new Captain America, and of course Sam's like, oh god. So we'll see where it goes from this. It's not something that's super interesting, I will admit to you. But at the same time, it is interesting because I want to know, okay, so there's this new Captain America. How's this gonna go? Again, by the end of the episode, we did not see Sam and Bucky reunite at all. And so I'll talk about that. But that's the whole episode. That is it. So we have this mystery of the New World Order, like what's going on with them, how we're going to stop them, who are they, and this new Captain America, and what the hell is he going to do? He probably, I don't know. I don't know if that's the super serum in him, the soldier serum, sorry. Is he just a normal guy? I will say that, okay, so Bucky and Sam, they didn't meet at all in this whole episode. Fine. I would have been okay with that if like at least 9 episodes like WandaVision was, or at least 10 episodes. But this is 6 episodes. 6 episodes. So one episode they're not together doing the whole thing, and I don't know. Like, is it gonna be worth it by the end of it? I don't know. If you tell me these episodes at least are like an hour or maybe a little bit longer, okay, maybe I can justify those things. But this is at least a little bit longer than WandaVision, but this still ended up being like 42 minutes tops. So I don't know what's going to happen at runtime for the next episodes. I don't know the structure of this. I don't know if this is gonna feel that there's a lot to work with here. Because if it had to be this big shows, it'd be awesome. But I don't know if it's gonna live up to anything. I don't know if it's gonna be a disappointment that they're actually selling you something that they're not gonna live up to. You know, they're not gonna actually keep their promises. Like, oh, this awesome big show. I thought it was fine. I did like some things, but the thing is, it's very stale. There's not a lot going on, at least for this episode. Again, we'll see what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen for the rest of the show. It's just nothing that stamps out. There's nothing that gives it its own identity. It's just almost generic, pretty generic. It's just nothing there. Again, there's still some interesting ideas, some interesting stuff with doing these characters, but so far it's just not a whole lot going on. Like, I don't want to say it was boring, but even with the action sequence, which is cool, it still wasn't something great. So it wasn't something, I don't know, it didn't move me. This episode, it didn't move me. It didn't give me anything like nuance. Not that it had to be super nuanced, but it didn't give me a lot from that surface level. It didn't go beyond. It didn't give me a lot of stuff. I mean, I did appreciate they actually tried to do some emotional stuff here. So it's not just some straight action show and that's it. They're still trying to tell a story, but there's just not a lot to work with, and there's not a lot of complexity in here. It's just pretty almost basic with some different varying levels of trying to do something and trying to add something here. But just take it out, it's just pretty basic and pretty straight. It's just and the cast was good for you know, for what they did. Torres, I've heard from the beginning, I was like, I don't know if he's gonna be good. I'm like, I don't think he's great. I mean, in part the character is okay. I think he's good in some things, but I think it was alright. I don't know if he's gonna be the rest of the show, but I was just like, I don't know about this guy. Sometimes it's a hit or miss for me so far. But again, there's nothing here that I'm grasping onto so far. There's no characters that I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Even Bucky and Sam, there's just nothing from them that I am loving so far, that I'm enjoying so far. The show's just pretty dry. That's the thing. It's pretty dry. I can't believe it. And it was pretty generic. Like, again, those text things, those transitions are so generic. There's just nothing that gives it personality. And I'm not saying personality that, oh, it has to be humor and all these Marvel movies. Like, no, I'm not saying it needs to have that, but give me something. And give me at least some of the identity, something that makes you stand out. So far, it's just pretty dry, pretty stale, almost kind of boring, really. It's just flat. That's the thing. This whole show so far is fucking flat. So it's pretty disappointing, man. It's just not a lot going on. 6 episodes, really? So far, it doesn't seem to be worth it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes as we go along. But I don't know. Baron Zemo's gonna be in here. I know that Carter, forgot her name. She's also gonna be in the show. So we'll see. We'll see. There are some things I can look forward to with this new Captain America, this new World Order thing. We'll see. Again, I don't know how Bucky and Sam are going to be together at all. I don't fucking know. But there were some cool cameos again from like the Batroc, Rhodes. So there still is some cool stuff in here, but not a lot. For this episode, I will give it like a 6. It was alright. It was probably one of those poorest things I've seen from Marvel so far. I mean, there's worse things for sure, but this is something that just was really bad about it. It's just there's nothing there to stand out. Like I said, it's pretty generic. Nothing to give it personality, make it unique. It's just there, mid-level, like, and that's what's really bad about it. I can't say it's a bad episode. Yeah, it's just there's nothing I'm grasping onto. It's nothing I'm attached to. Something I'm compelled by. It's just pretty flat. So what do you think about this first episode, New World Order by the Falcon and Winter Soldier? Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? Do you like seeing Bucky? Do you like seeing Sam? Let me know in the comments. What did you think? Let's talk about it right here. So if you like this video, please give it a like, share, subscribe for more reviews, and also stay tuned for every week. I will review every episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And stay tuned for other different varied content, because I have a lot of different content right here on Hablando Shit. So my name is Sebastián Sierra. Yo soy aquí hablando shit.